New Earth Cosmic Conversations.
Welcome, precious hearts. This is Anrita Melchizedek, and I'd like to welcome you to this week's show, New Earth Cosmic Conversations. And I'm in conversation this week with Grace Solaris, Sally Sherin, and Sarah Williams. So welcome, beautiful souls and star sisters. It's just so wonderful to connect with all of you. And of course, we were just speaking about all these incredible light energies and frequencies that we have been experiencing in this month of August, and that many of us are still integrating even as we come together as this unified field of light, and how our own light bodies are expanding, and so much that is going on energetically and on a planetary level. In fact, this month of August has really been in some ways completely intense. And I know so many of us as the Light Tribe have gone through so many deep levels of integration and clearing as we step collectively into the next level of our soul's blossoming magnificence and light. And essentially what is being experienced right now is a deeper level of the integration of our divine presence, of our beautiful soul light or beloved I am presence, and a rebalancing of the divine masculine and divine feminine frequencies as we draw upon the energy of the divine masculine archetype in particular. And so what this is bringing up for a lot of us then would also be the healing of the wounds of perceived separation and karmic timelines between men and women. Old relationships that possibly are either still coming up fleetingly for us to just resolve the last issues or vestiges of releasing the wounding within that particular relationship, or the karmic mates that are still really sitting there that we need to step deeper into forgiveness and love and letting go, because essentially where we are right now is either duality or unity. And each moment and each choice is taking us into a multidimensional timeline of increased cosmic conscious awareness, of crystalline consciousness, where we are experiencing the quantum matrix through the photonic rays, through the solar flares, through these stargates, and of course through the plasmic light waves as they're coming online too, in creating the next level light body for all of us at this time. And part of the show topic that we had today was actually on anniversaries and new beginnings. And this is really because it was brought up to my attention a couple of times that this is the 31st anniversary of the harmonic convergence, which was started in 1987 by Patricia Cota-Robles. And she is really just an amazing light worker, really essentially holding that flame of the divine feminine for all of us upon this sacred earth. And I'd have to say I absolutely love the work that she's brought through from the quantum realm in working with the company of heaven and so many of those beautiful energetic frequencies. And essentially, you know, she's really just been holding that flame of power, love, and wisdom for all of us as we step into that place of grace and wisdom and that space to play too, because that's where we are right now. This is a time really of letting go of the stresses and just deepening into greater levels of joy and happiness and love as all unfolds. So part of the work that I'm doing now is working with what I call these New Earth angelic templates. And the New Earth angelic templates are 12 templates that were brought through by the angelic realms. And from that, you know, it's particular frequencies that are created that ignites into the diamond light body, and is also experienced in different ways. And one of these ways is with olfactory sense, which is coming online now to access deeper levels of the hippocampus and the hypothalamus, the pituitary pineal glands, and the olfactory senses itself into a new experience, into a new sensory and auditory experience coming through sense itself. And this for me then came about in the creation of this range of soul sense. And it's really an amazing range based on these angelic templates. And in this month of August, the two angelic templates that have been activating and igniting for us is the template of understanding and compassion. And this template in particular is a very important one for us to deepen into forgiveness and to deepen into actually just releasing blame and that victim and persecutor consciousness and the timelines of lack of. So what it's bringing up here too are these lack of timelines that we're still integrating and experiencing. So for some of us, depending on where we are, that could be lack of abundance, could be lack of love, lack of support, lack of passion, whatever it may be. And it's bringing into that alignment very deep insights and understandings of how we can actually have the compassion for ourselves and the understanding for others. For those that we perceive have caused us pain, if we can see and understand their pain, that is coming from the compassionate heart and allows us to simply forgive. And forgiveness essentially is only forgiving ourselves. Forgiving ourselves for imagining that we are unworthy of love. Forgiving ourselves for imagining that we are anything but love. So it's really an exciting time as all these beautiful templates come online, and we are asked just to surrender to the energies, and in integrating these high frequency, high vibe, dimensional frequencies, it's really about taking that time for integration, expansion, integration, and alignment. And this is where then we deepen into that timeless state of being, that sense of no time, where we find the time for all that we need to do. And the second template that's coming online in this month of August, or that has been experienced, grace and appreciation. So it's also been a very good template for me because, you know, I think with all the cellular clearing that we've all been experiencing, and I was experiencing that too, just the releasing of old stresses and old resentments coming up, I think energetically, it just is the last vestiges that are coming up energetically from what we call the wounded soul aspects or the negative ego aspects of ourselves. And the way that I understood this in the knowing that was coming through was really just to be completely appreciative of all that we have. Because when we step into that appreciation, no matter how much or how little we have, there is no judgment and there is simply grace. So it's just a very good one to actually know in releasing all lack of is really just come deeper into appreciation of what we have and the blessings that we have in our own life. And it's from that point that the universe starts to bless us even further as we listen to the universe and as we just deepen into service and the next level. And for me, the way that I've seen that work out is that any level of lack of, I bring a focus to in just more levels of giving, deeper levels of service, and just allowing our beautiful bright lights to shine so magnificently upon this sacred earth. And I have these beautiful bright lights that are joining me today. So I think it's time that we moved into conversation with my beautiful star sisters. And we'll start with you, Grace, because I know this is really also just a time of incredible change and new beginnings and new places and new adventures. So please tell us a little bit more. Tell us a bit about yourself and, you know, what you're offering, and also a little bit about this new adventure that you're on.
Yes, thank you, and greetings to everyone. I'm very honored to be here and delighted to have this opportunity to connect with all of you. I am on a very new adventure now because I have been abroad for some 20 years almost. And last autumn, I was guided to move back to Denmark. Actually, I was aiming to move back to my native country. But at that time, as the father of my children is German, he was like a beton wall and was not willing to discuss it at all. And I was really feeling after 20 years that it, like the circle has closed, and I just felt I need to go to Denmark now. I want to go home, and but he was not open to discuss anything. And but then the Elohim came in, and they told me, you are gonna move to Denmark, and there will be catered for everything. Don't waste a moment. Don't waste a thought. How it's gonna work out, because it's gonna work out, and everything will be catered for. And that happened. It did take some time to clear. Of course, I worked on soul level to clear whatever fears and whatever, you know, blockages there was, you know, for the Father also to open up for us to leave. So it did take like approximately half a year, but I came to Denmark, and it was really, there was really catered for everything. It was such an easy move, and also how the house where I'm living, it's really a dream coming true. I'm living in a timbered house. I've had this vision for 20 years, and I wanted to come to live in a community. It's the heart vision that I had many years, and I wanted to come together with Soul Tribe. And the funny thing, I had talked with many people, you know, the last many years that felt the same thing, and we felt also aligned in many ways, but somehow there was always something or the other that it didn't match. It was not possible. And then as my sister and I, after I'd come to Denmark last year, we healed a lot between us. It was old family karma, you know. We had been given certain roles that had created what should I say, gaps between us, rivalry and stuff. Not that we have lived it very much out, you know, we were okay with each other, but we discovered such deep love, you know. So you know, after I'd been in Denmark, I just missed her, you know, and I realized, wow, this is Soul Tribe. This is my sister, my biological sister, and now we found this place where we can live together, and it has been her vision too. So now we actually live. There are 2 houses where I live, so she can live separately in her house because we both need our space, but we live next door. So it's just fantastic. It's just living the dream, and it seems everything is just, you know, unfolding, blossoming. It's abundance. And even my kids and I, we made a vision board a couple of years ago where everyone could add something, and all the things down to, we have been gifted a horse, you know, we wanted a horse, you know, you can't, you know, I couldn't just buy a horse, you know. So we've got gifted a horse. It's an old one, but she's just so sweet and helps the children because they have to learn riding. And it's just everything, you know, it's everything. It's just, you know, more perfect than I could have imagined, you know. So it's really like a miracle being here now. When I think about 1 year ago, this was just impossible, you know, and now we're here, and everything happened with ease and with grace, and we're just living here, and it's just abundance all around us. Even on the property here is I've never seen so many blackberries in my life, and there's apples, there's plums, there's everything. It's just abundance in every way. And it's there's even a small wood where you know, you can, you know, I love the wood. And then there's the water. I missed water, so I'm 5 minutes from the water, and it's there's very, very magical high energy here on this place. And Joshua, he told me months back before we found this place that they would prepare a temple for me where I could do my work, the next leg of my mission, because the last years I have not been able to work other than in cyberspace. I have not been able to meet everyone or to give workshops in person, and I miss that personal contact a lot. Mm-hmm. And I have plenty of room here, so I really look forward to start offering workshops and retreats, and so I'll see how everything will evolve. My path has been very much, I'm just following, I don't ask very much my guides. I have, I'm connected with many, many beings, as we all are, working with angelics, working with star beings, the ascended masters. I came from the mystery school background, but I actually threw it all overboard and left the mystery school to become totally empty. And that's when I got stripped down layer by layer like an onion. And I learned to honor my divine connection instead of taking over teachings that I received from other persons. And this was how, for me, that was a way to really learn to step aside and just become empty, so that the divine could just come in and basically give teachings and work through me. So it was very much a way to learn to just really experience and feel, rather than a lot of time, we have maybe done seminars, attended, even when we have, done certain educations, we are often taking on like mind concepts of others, but really being in this empiric way, experiencing things, is the way where this is deeply integrated into your being. And this was for me the only way. So that was very much the path that I went through.
You're talking about deeper levels of authenticity. I think for so many years, and part of that training for all of us in the activation of the dormant DNA and the remembrance was really drawing upon the teachings of those that went ahead of us, so to speak.
Yes,
and I think there's still a large part of those still waking up. We must draw upon the teachings of those that have been those foundations that have been created for us. But it's from that then that we deepen into just, well, what works for us, what is our way.
Exactly.
And then from that place of expression of self is coming to a new level of sharing. So all that information that we've had through all those trainings and through the teachings of others have brought us, each of us, to a new point of balance of our own authenticity, or our own light as the vibrating stargates and portals of light, to be able to say, this is where I am now. This is my truth. This is my reality. This is me as this beautiful soul sharing my light, and this is what I can offer. So I want to ask you, Grace, what is it that you're offering at this time?
Yes, I do a lot of different sessions. I work a lot with the divine feminine energies, with Mary Magdalene, which has been very present with my being for many years. So I have been doing a lot with healing the divine feminine, and have assisted others giving sessions. The last year, it's almost like a year now, the Acturians came in and presented themselves, and they started to share information with me, which is very much about restoring our galactic wisdom, our divine blueprint. And so they have given me information, and they give it piece for piece. It's not like, I don't know, somebody, they get a whole training program or whole modules of this and that. I get it piece for piece. And I didn't know when it started, but it turned out to be every month. Then I'm being activated and going through certain activation and downloads, and then I get the information. So it has been about, it's about, creating the divine blueprinting of our body, the transformation of our body into the divine blueprinting. So it has been the changes on the DNA like the 13th DNA strand, which I was guided, which I received the download of and have been sharing in activations. There has been an Atlas activation and resurrection. There has been repolarization of the cells to the anti-clockwise spinning. There has been also the third helix, which is the original DNA which we had originally. And so they are giving me these downloads and upgrades, and then I get the information. I share that in global activations where we come together as a group force field. And the feedback has just been amazing. And we have been growing in participants every month from starting with 130, and then we came up to 200, 300, 400, 450. So it's something growing, and I get incredible feedbacks that people, they just feel more oneness. Their divine gifts are opening. They get more clarity. They come into peace with themselves and feeling more, you know, like they can transcend their story, their, you know, beyond this human incarnational story. They can connect with their galactic consciousness, and they more, so they integrate the human part, but they can, you know, step beyond it in a way, and so opening of all those divine gifts that are happening. So I'm just amazed, and it seems to be stronger and stronger. And of course, you know, also the energies. I mean, we're going through portals after portal. It's all supporting this, of course. And it's not that if you don't participate in these upgrades and these activations, everyone is going through this transformation, of course. It's just that the Acturians are offering this as a tool, as supporting us in transmuting our DNA and the restoring of the crystalline body. So it's, but it's really a lot of star seeds have and pioneers of light have been very attracted to it, and so it's growing every day. And I never know the month before or what's going to happen. I had no idea. So it's just being in the unknown, and every time, and then they always come out of the blue, and then I get the information and then I share it. So it's very exciting.
How wonderful. Yes, I think many of us work like that quite intuitively anyway. Yes. You know, I know for many years as a starseed, as a Pleiadian starseed, and I still absolutely love the Christed ET councils and energies and calling them in, and the light chambers, and really, you know, it just really depends on what's happening at that moment. But even as we're speaking right now, we're going to, I think, just call upon the Sherin emissaries to bring in a beautiful quantum rebalancing chamber of light, the divine masculine and divine feminine, because this is really essentially what we're experiencing with these light frequencies. And we ask the Pleiadians to come in there with healing chamber just for the integration of the high frequency energies into a new level of peace and calm and manifestation. Because what I find there is, even as we're speaking and these light grids are coming in as energetic rectangular light grids, multidimensional light grids around the body and energy field, is we can really feel that experience. So, you know, as we deepen into our own divine presence, we can actually energetically create that experience ourselves, as the recognition of all these energies as one with us in the experience of the integration of all that we are is our multidimensional selves. It's through all those timelines, whether the integration then comes through from the experience of the Christed extraterrestrials, which are our Christed selves, ET selves, or through the timelines that we're going into the integration of the archetypal energies, the high priestess, the high priest, the queen mother, the father, the king, It doesn't really matter, even the healer. And then, of course, all the creative gifts that come online as we deepen into those energies or call upon, and I still absolutely love it, and we'll do this. Call upon the Sisterhood of the Rose. We'll move into a transmission with them later. So it's so beautiful to feel these energies of the higher aspects of consciousness that are actually aspects of ourselves too. And in that deeper level of integration and knowing, all is experienced. And what I find too then with the light body integration is coming so much more into the physical body, where we're actually starting to communicate and connect with the hormones and the glands and the cells, and shift that consciousness or shift within us what we're needing to create our bodies as these vibrating, vibrant
Feels,
in every level of our beingness. So it's really just quite an exciting time, because we're really stepping so much deeper into holding the flames of divine love. And that was essentially the energy that was anchored through the I think it was this 8-8 gateway, that's Sherin Stargate last year, was the energy of the divine feminine. It was through the Sherin Stargate, or the Stargate of the heart, and then that was ignited within all awakened souls, my understanding, from the company of heaven, and that was in the December solstice of 2017. And so this year is holding this force field of divine love as these flames of divinity, all of us awakened souls. And now it's emerging into the integration of the divine masculine. And so we've been holding the flame then of the love aspects of creation and the wisdom aspects, because the wisdom aspects have really been those deeper levels of the integration of the knowing that we have, which has come online through the DNA activations, the light body activations, the connecting through the timelines with its multidimensional golden age, even past life and clearing. So those timelines then in integration are now deepening into the integration of the power aspect of creation. And so how this then is played out is in power and will, with clear boundaries, deeper levels of conscious communication, deeper levels of being able to experience new ways of working with the flow between the divine masculine and divine feminine. So such an interesting time and place and space that we are all in at this time. But that's so wonderful, Grace. Really, if I had I was going to say, if I could travel in my activated light body, in my Merkaba field, and I can do that energetically and join you, but I would absolutely so love to do it physically. And that's been part of also the reason why I felt this desire to come together through Cosmic Conversations, is because we are all just such incredibly beautiful souls doing absolutely amazing work. But, sometimes we are in our own busyness and our own lives, and it's not really possible to have that space where we can connect physically in a way that we would like to with others. And, I know that as a single mom, myself, as a single parent, that isn't easy, that juggle. And so this really is a space where we can just come together in our beautiful, loving hearts, in that sharing, and, just really say, oh, well, it's so lovely to be there with you, and I feel you energetically, and I feel like I'm there with you physically too. So it would be wonderful. I haven't gone to Denmark yet, but I'm going to bookmark it as a place I'd like to go to.
Yes, you're very welcome. For sure. Very well.
Thank you, Grace. And then, of course, I did spend a long time in the UK. I lived there in my mid-20s and early 30s, and I came back also once I left and hosted quite a few workshops. So it's been an absolute blessing to connect then to two of my fellow light workers here from the Light Tribe, Sarah Williams and Sally Sherin, because I know they're both in the UK. So let's catch up with you, Sarah. So welcome. It's so lovely to see you again. I know the last time we connected was in that Glastonbury workshop that we did on the light body, and that was in 2015, was it? Or 2014? Okay.
2017. It seems a lifetime ago.
Yes.
Doesn't it? It's so lovely to be here. And thank you so much for inviting us and creating this platform, Anrita, because, we had such a special time when we joined you on your workshop. you know, down by the tour, and you know, such a beautiful group from all over the world that you've brought together. And you know, you are fantastic at facilitating, you know, and co-creating these amazing events where we all come from around the globe, actually, just to work together and to co-create together. So this is just a beautiful place to be, and thank you.
Yes, how lovely. And I still remember you gave me some of the little things that you make up, Sarah. So I know that you have this gift of alchemy too in your own way. Would you like to share with us a little bit more about your work and all these beautiful products and services that you offer?
I can, thank you. Well, the things that I offer sort of come into the category of about 4 things. One of them is the Soul Harmony creams. And basically they are blending essential oils into a mix as an alchemist. And I started, if I can give you a little bit of the history about how that commenced. Back in the mid-90s, I woke up by reading 3 books. And those 3 books were The Celestine Prophecy and 2 books by someone called Caroline Miss or Mice. And she wrote a book called Anatomy of the Spirit, and also Why People Don't Heal and How They Can. And those books woke me up. And at that time, I was a single mum, and I had just trained to become an aromatherapist and a body masseuse. And I didn't want to send my clients away feeling, as I was learning about chakras at that time, I didn't want to send them away being out of balance for too long, because I realized that they would be in balance when they left my healing space, but as soon as they left my healing space, then their chakras may ping out of balance. So my aim and my remit was to create something that people could put on topically that would rebalance their chakras, those vortexes or wheels or valves, if you like, in their bodies and in their auric field, so that they could stay balanced just at the touch of something. So they didn't have to rely on me. They could actually just go to something else. And I started off with oils, but that quickly became very messy and not very practical. So I put them into creams. And now if you Google chakra balancing creams, then I think you'll find me at organicaromatherapy.co.uk. Now, at that time, my daughter had arrived, and she was the one that really kicked me into working from home and changing my whole life plan. And over that time, in the 90s, I started learning about chakras, and I sent some of my creams, the first 7, off to Caroline in America, who had so inspired me. And she sent me a letter back encouraging me, which I was very excited about, because it really did give me the confidence that I needed to give me the toe up the backside, if you like, to get out there and do a little bit more. So with that, I started to put some more creams together, because I got these downloads working cosmically, and I work very much with the Christic Galactics. I work with the angelic, the archangelic, and I ground that all shamanically through being a triple Virgo, and try to bring that to the planet as best I can. And I had to put something in place, and I was guided very much to start placing crystals around the planet. So I didn't know at the time that we're going to, in this now moment, become less carbon based and more silica or crystalline based. I had no idea about this. I was just going on trust, and I was guided to be on 21st of December 2012. I didn't know why the date was, and I didn't know where Uxmal was, and I was guided to a pyramid in Mexico. And since then, I've been guided to many places around the globe to place crystals. And I didn't know why. I've never known why. I've just known that I've had to be there. So the 21st of December 2012 found me at a place in the middle of the jungle with an oval base, the oval base pyramid called Uxmal, called the Pyramid of the Magician. And I did a ceremony there, a rebirthing in a cenote, which is like an underwater waterway. And from there, that was very much sort of bat energy. It was very much about purification. And from there, I do believe that when you do something and you put yourself out there in service, and spirit then will give you a pat on the back at some point. Not that I do it for that reason, I just have to go to these places. So from there, I got given more information about some more chakras, and I was guided to start working. I expanded eventually to now I'm working with 24. And the reason that I'm doing that is because part of my soul's remit I've come to understand in the past 30 years of working with this frequency is that I'm here to help people bring their bodies through the shift. And this is one of the first times that in my awareness that humans or Homo luminous have become the illuminated human, the enlightened human. And it's one of the first times that we've been able to actually bring our bodies through the shift. But it's not a comfortable experience. You know, there are so many different fears and different things, carbons and toxins and things that, and memories, past and future and parallel life, things that need to come to the surface. And it's my understanding that we've been given the remit this lifetime that we can actually do a lot of clearance with all of that. In fact, that's what needs to happen. We have to face our fears in order to be able to step up and to become more luminous. So I'm starting now to work with the 24 chakras, and that incorporates a lot of what I like to call ascension chakras, but are actually very ancient. Things like at the back of the neck, we've got Jade Gate, which is also known as Alta Major, and it's about the seers aspect. It's about how we see, how we pull back, how we see the big picture. It's one that's very, very important, and the ancients were actually talking about thousands of years ago. But no one has really been talking about it. So I've been guided to work with more chakras than maybe other people. From there, I've got a fairly large nose, and it works pretty well with aromatherapy. And I was guided very much to put, through spirit, to put these creams together. So now we have creams that I've put together, and I make them by hand, and literally with love, in a frequency of divine love and light, with the angels and the archangels around. We play beautiful music. They're all made, you know, here where I live at the moment. And at the last harmonic convergence, because the power today has been incredible, and I do feel like it is a whole turning of the wheel for today, and on the 17th. And this time, in all of those years ago, I was living in Portugal, and now I'm just making plans to return to Portugal. I know you have a connection with Portugal as well, Anrita, and you've demonstrated some amazing love from the heart with the way that you've handled personal experiences from that area. And
I see Solara Anra also moving that way. Solara Anra. Yeah, no, not myself, Solara Anra. So it seems that a large community of, of more awakened souls are definitely moving down there into Portugal, along the Algarve. So
that's it. The Eastern Algarve is where we're going to be going. So, I'll continue with Organic Aromatherapy Limited and the Soul Harmony creams, but my daughter is now going to be picking up the reins and taking this forward into the 5th dimension, and she now lives in Bali. But that's all coming online now. The creams I now make but sell worldwide, and they go to everybody all over the planet, and I'm deeply honored by hearing some of the feedback. You know, people say they open the pot and they feel love, and you know, they feel the love that we put into them, and I make sure that anyone who helps me put them into pots is very clear, very balanced. We have beautiful music, you know, and we've got a candle alight, we've got a sacred space, etc. So, you know, they are made with love, and I share them with love, and they're going to be going forward with even more love into the higher frequencies. And we're going to be becoming more vegan. We're going to be sharing, you know, gifts from, they're going to be blessed by Mama Bali and Indonesia. So we're going to bring in all of these global aspects.
Lovely, very feminine energy as well. Yes,
absolutely, global energy.
Yeah.
And also the younger energy. But the other two, the other two things that I've been doing are raise your vibration courses, and I've been doing that since the noughties, I think. So since, you know, mid 2000, 2005, 2006, and I've been sharing. Firstly, it was 3 levels of racial vibration courses, working around, basically around chakras, but there are 49 chambers to each chakra, and you can't possibly enlighten and release the clutter in each of those chambers without literally combusting and becoming the Buddha consciousness and a pile of clothes underneath a tree, you know. I mean, we need to clear these on a level that our soul is allowing us to, I believe. And I've been working with those, and every time I run a course, I certainly clear more myself and become slightly, you know, a little bit more enlightened, although I'm still human and I'm still here and I'm still working with it. You know, this is the thing. I think we are all still here doing that work. So I've been working with those levels, and since I've been guided to other places around the planet, to Bali, and I did a lot of work in Central America and in Mexico in various different sacred sites. And of course, coming from the UK, we have the heart chakra of the UK being Glastonbury and Avebury, and of course Dragon Hill, which is where I was just a few weeks ago for the 8/8. Sorry, a month ago really, for the 7/7. And the 8/8 energies that Sally and I were doing also on the 7/7, working very much with these beautiful numbers. As I've been working with these energies, then I find that I get some more information coming through about things that I need to be doing. And it's working very much with the amalgamation of timelines, with parallel lifetimes, with you know, the Christic galactics. And I need to anchor these workshops, which have now expanded from not just 3 levels, but actually to 7 levels. So I'm working now with level 7, which is the Mer people and the Oceanics and the Neptune energy. But I work with the other levels. We're working with, the first one is 7 chakras, and then we do another 9 chakras, and then we do the soma and a sacred site and reactivating of the 3 levels of deep third eye work. And then working again with stargates and portals and living in 5D and beyond. And you know, if you go and visit the courses on my website, then you can have a little look there and see what I offer. But the other thing that I was gifted and given in 2011 was the Moon Eye Key rights. And the Moon Eye Key rights are ancient rights that were actually gifted from the Christic galactics and came through Lemuria and then Atlantis. And then ended up in the Laika tribe up in the Himalaya area 13,000 years ago, when that's where the Kundalini of the planet rose. And from there, as the Kundalini has shifted over to Lake Titicaca, over in Peru, which is where it now resides, and will do for the next 13,000 year cycle, I've been guided very much to share these Moon Eye Key rights. And Moon Eye means love and Key means energy, and this love energy is omniversal. So we find that, for instance, there are 9 rights that I'm working with, and the 8th right is the Star Keeper right. And I know that you and I, and also my 2 star sisters here, will all completely connect to the fact that we all have aspects, as we know, in the Pleiades, in Andromeda, in Arcturus, you know, in all of these different places around the universes. And actually what the Starkeeper Rite does is it brings together all of the lessons that we're learning and the consciousness that we're evolving from all of those places into this now moment, into this body, so that we can feel more complete. So I've been sharing that now with hundreds of people, and it changes the way that people live, age, heal, die, dream their worlds into being down the spirals of frequencies that we know exist. And I've been using as a trademark and logo for my company, Organic Aromatherapy, for the last 30 years, nearly 25 years. So for me, the spiral is very, very important. Not only is it the helix that our DNA, which is now, of course, being, as we know, upgraded from 2 to 12 strand, and my dear light sister Grace also was mentioning the 3rd strand that connects very much with the limbic system, where we're regrowing our bodies, you know, the way a lizard would regrow its tail, and restoring us to that frequency, that template, so that we can regrow and regenerate our bodies. So the vibrational tools that I'm offering are the creams and the Raise Your Vibration workshops and the Moonlight Key Rites. And all of these are, I believe, helping. I also do one-to-ones, and I'm still seeing people. I used to massage people, like 15 people a week, and I did that for 20 years. And then the universe wanted me to stop, and I wouldn't listen. So then they put me in a wheelchair and told me on my journey. So 5 years ago, I couldn't move. I was in a wheelchair, and I didn't want to go down it was an autoimmune journey that I have been on this lifetime, which I believe is common to many healers. So with that, I decided I wasn't going down the drug route, and I was just going to be using my essential oils in my diet to change things around. And I've healed myself just with those 2 things. And I'm now completely clear of things like Thorruxin that I was put on 23 years ago, and I don't take anything anymore, and I feel so free. So I've been allowed to walk my talk and to show people that they can look after their bodies and help themselves naturally using the vibrational healing tools that Mother Earth provides for us. And I know that you also love aromatherapy oils and essences and the gifts from this earth.
Yes. Well, it's so wonderful, Sarah, when you're sharing like that, because I get so excited, with this whole range that I'm also creating, and certainly we must get together and at least share and, sort of see how we can really just extend that. And I know that I was briefly mentioning the possibility of also setting up some sort of affiliate links, possibly creating a website with all the beautiful products and services that we all have as a way to market and network and create just these pods of light services and products, and have it, on so many different websites, just the same things, and just getting it out there as much as we can. And of course, it really is a time where it is very, we're all needing that in our own healing, because there's so much clearing going on. And I know one of the questions that we just came in from one of the participants, Jody, is saying that she feels empty and useless, and she's needing something to wake her up right now. And really, essentially, what we're talking about is that we've had so many unique experiences along the karmic timelines that at this time, what is going on essentially is that there's still an aspect of the consciousness of some of us stuck in disillusionment. And, really from that place of disillusionment, it's actually really hard to deepen into our heart's dreaming, our heart's passion. And with disillusionment, often what comes in is just the old habits and patterns of unconsciousness. So incorrect eating habits, bad choices, the wanting to shut down, close off the emotional body, trying to block out a lot of stuff, which leads to various addictions. So, having these beautiful healing creams and the Soul Sense range that I'm making, and so many of these all obviously energetic healing products too, apart from all these beautiful services that we offer, is really essentially the way to go. So Jody, essentially right now, to come into that inner stillness, you have to do that work. And the big thing is to recognize first and foremost yourself as a flame of divinity. Because what is happening, and know this to be the truth, is that we are really becoming our divine presence. And in fact, some of us have actually ascended already. So we're showing that pathway on a new level from a 5th dimensional, 7th dimensional, even 12th dimensional perspective. So this is, what is coming up here is really just a timeline where we're actually coming together, not only in unity, but actually to hold that space for our brothers and sisters, those that are still struggling, those that are still in lack of, because this is really essentially to know that we are really love. And so many of us can attest to actually just coming from that space of love, coming from that space of service, and yet the frustration of not truly being able to manifest yet our heart's dreaming, our heart's desire, or to be completely grounded in our own service work. So there are so many different levels of tools and gifts that we are working with that can assist us with that. And these are really essentially templates of success that we are all sharing at this different time. Part of the work that I'm doing with these beautiful angelic templates is really another way of calling it the blueprints of success. And the blueprints of success are going into absolutely every single area that we're all talking about here. DNA activation, galactic activation, emerging integration of the higher self, and then all those levels of clearing with the beautiful stuff. And frequencies and creams and oils and sprays and essences and crystals. Really these crystals are talking, and, as gatekeepers and grid keepers and light workers and wayshowers, that's such an important part too. The right now is to create a high vibe. And the easiest way to stay in that high vibe is actually to create that high vibe in your environment. That means playing music all the time, beautiful music, whether it's figure frequencies or whether it's just angelic frequencies, planting crystals all around your house, outside your house, bringing in white sheets, flames of light, grids of light, eating well, making the choices that support you, and slowly just, finding yourself to that next step and that next step and that next step. And I can speak from experiences, every single one of us can hear that, those challenges can be very deep. And those traumas that we experience is really just to open the heart. And, I can say that I too have experienced absolute devastation in my life. And from that place then of absolute heartache, to be able to trust and surrender and to know that the highest outcome will prevail. So a large part of this too is taking this leap of faith, is trusting and knowing, Jody, that everything will be all right, that all will be well. So trust in that, sweetheart, as we just send you right now just this beautiful flame of divine love from our collective hearts into yours. And of course, right now to all of those listening with us, all those listening to this replay, just know how much you are loved and celebrated and appreciated. And we can all just take a moment to just energetically and physically place our hands upon our heart and just say to ourselves, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you, Sarah. I love you, Sally. I love you, Grace. I love you, Jody. Ino sono koakina sia ia. Inkaino koakia. Imo soaya. And mostly just know at this time we are collectively experiencing the next level of our souls blossoming a deeper sense of the divine presence, where all is one. As you just affirm, I am the light of God. The light of God I am. I am the light of God. The light of God I am. I am the light of God. The light of God I am. Breathing in love, breathing out love. Imosoaia. Inkaino koakia. Imosoaia. Good. So let's see how you're doing, Sally. I have to say you look very serene.
Oh, thank you. It's so lovely to be with you all. And it's a bit like a dream come true with you lovely people. I've worked with Sarah a lot, and I've met you, Anrita. I haven't met you, Grace, but it's so lovely to be here with you and to see Pamela and Suzanne and Annalie in the chat box there, and Jodie. It was lovely that you asked a question and joined with us there, and everyone else who's here. It's just amazing. And it's funny because my hearing's just suddenly gone a bit weird, and I've suddenly gone deaf in one ear. I don't know what's going on there, but that's part of it, no doubt. But it's uncanny that all these themes that you've all been talking about, they so link in with everything that had been coming up for me around this. So
1717 gateway. So I just saw those numbers on my computer a little bit earlier, and the first person I thought of was Sally.
2 weeks ago, you invited me, Anrita, and you said it's on the 17th, and it didn't twig in the first instant. First of all, my immediate thought was, how would I speak on a thing like that? That was my immediate thought, like those amazing people who are going to be there, how would I speak? And then I saw it was on the 17th. So immediately that jumped out at me, because I've been having numbers, well, probably about 5 years. I've been consciously aware of the numbers coming in, but it's about 2 years, or just over 2 years since the 17, since I've been aware of it. My awakening has been a very slow and a very gradual one. It's funny looking back, because the first thing I put myself out to do, sort of in public as it were, was a really, really big step for me, and that was to book a hall locally. Well, I'd already been having little groups in my house actually, but I didn't really, that was kind of okay. And then I took the big step of booking this hall locally to show a film by James Twyman. This was in 2008. This was 10 years ago. It was the Moses Code by James Twyman. And anyway, it's a long story, but in the process of putting myself out there, all these fears came up. Like we were just talking about the fears that are coming up to be cleared. Who are you to do this thing? Who are you? Who would come? Why would you be able to do that? You know, all of this kind of programming from back over the lifetimes. And what would you say to everyone when they came? How would, you know, and on it went. And part of me just kind of rose up inside and said, okay, what would be the worst thing that could happen? And the logical answer was, okay, you'd lose £200 because you'd have to pay for the film and the hall. And I decided that it was worth it, actually. I decided that, okay, that's a price that I would pay to see if people would come. But the reason I'm telling this story is because on the day, 17 people came. Now, I had no idea about 17 then, but looking back and remembering that, it's obviously linked, and that gave me the confidence. They had loved it so much, you know, and we had a long tea break, and I noticed people connecting and doing things on each other in the tea break, like tapping and healing, and, you know, and I thought this is something that people want. So that was when I started a monthly group, and, you know, and things have gone on. And I've trained in various healing modalities, energy ones. But for the last 7 years, I've been doing QHHT, which is Dolores Cannon's quantum healing hypnosis technique. That's been evolving for me as well. I was very lucky to train with her twice. That was just amazing. Going back to trust and synchronicity, because I know it's all about trust. The opportunity to train with her, that went on trust for me. I just had to go, and it was in about 10 days time when I heard about it. And could I afford it? No, I've got to go and do that thing. And the time before she died, she was here in England just 2 months before she died. And by a pure quirk of coincidence, I got to hear that she was doing the level 2 course in Glastonbury, and I managed to get there. And then who knew she was going to pass. But really today, what I wanted to share, because I think it's really important for everyone who listens and who listens afterwards, is there's a throat, remnants of throat blockages, because I know we've all worked on it, that's coming up this week, and it's been asking me to do this today. So going from my initial reaction to being on here, like what would I say, and trusting, because it was the 17th, then I started realizing that I would have to speak, and my throat started closing. And a couple of nights ago I actually had glands swelling up when I was lying down to do the Wednesday night healing transmissions, which I do every Wednesday. That's been going for 5 years. I had the idea to do a global healing transmission, and every Wednesday since then that's been running. And with Helen Quayle now, my lovely friend who's now in California. So we always have it 9:30 to 10 UK time, because that at that time 5 years ago, that was when my daughter had gone to bed. Of course, now she's 17, so it's all different, and I have to go upstairs and
as well.
Be quiet, you know. But then it was she'd gone to bed and I could do it. So this week I lay down and the throat just closed up and it just hurt, and I asked, what is it for Friday? And they basically, it was just a dreadful sort of tickle and a closure and a like eyes streaming, and I had to stand up and cough. And okay, so then yesterday I had a client for QHHT, and guess what, her thing that she came with was the throat. She had had a spear put through her neck in an ancient life, which we looked at. While we were doing that, the my throat went out in sympathy, and I could feel it going in like her. So, and it's funny that one ear's gone now, because I think that's all connected with the throat. But so today, I think it's already happening, because I know everything happens at once. I'm intending for a transmission, which is already flowing, for everyone who's listening, or who may not even hear about this, who needs to have any remnant of throat clearing done, for that to be done. And later I'll talk about that when we go into the transmission, because we can fill the cells with light in there and we can help it to move. My work now is one-to-one, online and in person, but also in groups. I found that doing the quantum healing hypnosis, what I'm doing is I'm leading people in with my voice. So it's taking people in with vibration and voice. And I think the vibration comes on the voice, comes through the voice from the heart, and it takes people into theta brainwave. And what I found is that I can do this in groups. And we've had these gatherings, which I call light circles. I've done some with Sarah and with others, and we've had people sit. And my aim now is to have people in light council, so that we connect. We all go to that level at once, and we can all, like we're doing now. So when you suggested this, Anrita, I just thought, wow, that's amazing. That's what I want to do. Yes. We connect in, and the God self in each of us comes through at the appropriate time for the group. And that's how I see that happening when we sit in a physical circle. So I'm going to be running a autumn equinox gathering in the heart chakra in Glastonbury, the weekend of the autumn equinox, 22nd and 23rd of September this year. If anyone's in England or in the south or wants to come and meet, then I'll be sharing about that on my page. What else was I going to say?
Well, I absolutely love that, Sally, because what you're talking about is conscious communication, but you're talking about the energy of not only expression, but the energy that comes through in expression, the voice, the frequency of the voice itself. And I know for so many of us as light workers, and I can say certainly for my own journey, which also started many, many years ago, just having been a full-time light worker for eons of time, actually, feeling like this, and lifetimes, yeah, eons and eons for all of us, and in this lifetime, certainly some decades. But that beginning part of the journey was also, kind of what have I got to share? And, will people want to listen to me? And it's really, I think, just a natural part of that self-consciousness that dissipates over time as we deepen into our service work until we get to the point where, really it's just been about service and what's being transmitted, because we're transmitters and receivers. And that's really what you're talking about in terms of your frequency and vibration, not only energetically, of course, because that's what we're doing as the vibrating portals of light or physical vessels and flames of divinity, is really just our own energy affecting and creating change and what is being experienced energetically through our own body, because a large part of that experience is the voice for the collective. So in the experience of finding our voices, in the experience of standing up for our truth, we're doing that for those that still don't have their voices or don't have their truth yet. And we all have a voice, and it links into deeper levels of our own authenticity and expression of self in the expression of that. And also things shift and change. I know for me, for a very, very long time, I felt much more comfortable in transmission state. And I know Grace was speaking about that earlier as well, because it's just so much easier. It was so much easier for me because I was in that frequency vibe to just come from that place in expression of self, in experientially, in allowing others to also receive and feel that frequency coming through. And now a lot of it is also about just in using our voice in different ways too, as part of a light tribe, whether that is just in expression of communication and conscious communication, whether that it's in sound frequency, whether that is in different levels of clearing to deepen into conscious communication and relationships. That's really all important, and all of that is coming online now, because this is also part of that rebalancing of that divine masculine and divine feminine frequency, or our divine masculine and feminine spirits, into the birthing of the magical innocent child, or to our purity, or to our innocence, our creative gifts. All of that is what is being experienced right now. And that is essentially that portal of new beginnings. That is essentially what's opening for us right now, is coming deeper into what is our passion, what is our purpose. And for every single one of us, knowing that we have a voice, and we actually asked to stand up center stage. So Light Tribe, we are speaking to you to stand up center stage, because that's what's asked for us right now as the wayshowers and facilitators in this golden age of light, is to stand up and to be the voice for the masses, and to share your voice, your authentic self, your truth, your loving heart in absolutely every way.
Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you, Anrita. And I think if there's anyone listening who's on the verge of putting themselves out there and maybe just starting out doing some healing or speaking or whatever it is, then you really, now is the time, and you just do have to trust. And it's so organic that when you start, it will come. You just start, and then it happens.
And what I love, actually, Sally, is also your vulnerability and sharing, because this is really so important. For a very long time, I think we were saying, oh, I don't want to tell people I'm fearful right now, or I don't want to say, well, I'm not sure what I'm going to share, or I don't want to say, well, I'm feeling a bit scared to be coming onto this platform, whether it's in a circle, whether it's in a group, whether it's in a hall full of people. It doesn't really matter, that place or that point of actually saying it's okay to feel whatever I'm feeling, and to embrace that and to share that, because even as you put it out there, it dissipates, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which is really so absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
And I think something that I've noticed when I have a group, often I'll say, I don't actually know what we're doing. I've got some ideas about how to fill the time, but that's not what we're doing. What we're doing is bigger than that. You know, like I don't have much idea, and probably because I'm busy in my life, like we've been talking about with children and things. You know, you're busy and I probably don't set enough on my own and get the information, but I'll know things. It's like a gut instinct, and I'll do things based on a number or based on a gut feeling, and I know that codes are being exchanged between the participants, and things are triggering each other to wake up, and nothing happens by accident. So if they're there, they're getting whatever it is. Yeah,
it's lovely, isn't it? It's absolutely lovely, wonderful.
It's exciting.
That adventure unfolds where you don't really need to know the end game.
You can't know it.
Just be in this moment, isn't it? How wonderful. All right, Sally, so you are offering just some beautiful things, gatherings. Where do you stay in the UK that if people want to get hold of you?
I'm in Southampton, which is the centre of the south coast, really. It's a port, and I go up to Glastonbury now and again. I've got 3 trips coming up there in the next couple of months. So, and Sarah's very near to me. She's about 40-minute drive to my east. So we get together when we can. But yeah, there's a lot of people in our area actually who are light workers and people who like coming and doing this work together. So we're very lucky. So we've got Bournemouth, Southampton, Portsmouth, all big cities together here with a lot of people who are very interested. So it's a very densely populated area, but I think that's because it's the kind of expansion of the heart chakra, and I think a lot of us must have chosen on some level that we would have our lifetime here at this time, because this is the energy of it. Yeah. It was interesting.
Sorry, just to interrupt there, because I was also living in the UK for, in my mid-20s to early 30s. I was there for 6.5 years. Okay. And Glastonbury was also one of my very favorite places at that time, feeling that energy and hosting a lot of workshops there. Just really amazing energy. Yes, absolutely. And also just the energy of England itself. England and Southern Ireland, it'll be really just very soft energy on the land, just quite a lot of vortices, portals, ley lines, as we know, the Michael and Mary line, and of course we've got the Tor, but we also have, the crop circles, interestingly enough, just a lot going on that side of the globe.
There's been so many crop circles this year. Really, here. There's been a bumper year for crop circles. Something's going on here. Yeah, it's been incredible. But going back to the divine masculine, which I hadn't clocked for today yet, but you mentioned just before we started that the divine masculine, obviously that's a topic for now that's very current, that we're integrating that. And it hadn't really occurred to me, but the throat, this business about the throat needing to be kind of expanded and let the gunk out, that's really going to help us speak to men, because I think a lot of us have this past conditioning where the women, we go to speak and we can't say how we feel, and it might be to each other as well, but it's often to men, and that's an ancient that's an ancient sort of
wound. Yes. Absolutely. And what's also that is what I found in the deeper integration of my own divine masculine spirit. It's not only a deepening into the flow of working in a new way with the feminine and the masculine, but also, interestingly enough, with the masculine, it's not as talkative as the feminine on its own, and it's a lot more detached and much less drama. So, if we look at men generally, they speak a lot less than women, as we know, just, the way that we programmed and genetically geared. But essentially in a deeper level of the merging, what I find more and more is just observing detachment and just love and compassion. Of course, greater levels of empowerment and deeper levels of will and desire of alignment, so that it's really, it's not so much the fiery male energy as just the strength of the male energy, which also is a lot less entangled. So it's quite an interesting thing because, you know, this new way of working has just come online for so many of us. The days where we were doing the light work and there was a lot of stress around it, and, you know, kind of so many ups and downs, just resolved into just a greater flow of timelessness in the integration of the flame of the divine feminine. And with that, then in the integration of the divine masculine within ourselves, it's just greater levels of empowerment and expression in a new way with greater levels of clarity. I see in my communication, although I obviously still like to chat a lot when the opportunity arises, for the most part, the words are a lot less. You know, there is really no need to, it's not only discernment, but it's clarity of perspective that just says, you know, I just can say a sentence where before I, you know, would have said a lot more around a particular situation. So it is an interesting way of communicating. But I absolutely love what we're talking about here in terms of just expressing our truth. Because, you know, there's so many of us that hold that in, or you flare it out. So what's coming up then, what I was also noticing with that was related to reaction. So how do you react? And it was observing that, you know, with my children in particular, they're such incredible teachers, along with so many other, you know, souls around us. But they are just in their own little place of where they are. And, you know, they can push our buttons, can't they just? So more than anything, it's just always to just be calm with, you know, with, in my case, with my children. But the observation of reaction was when something happens, how do you respond? You know, what is the old pattern? The old pattern might be either to get really mad and hold it in, or to shout and bring it out. And, you know, none of that is useful, isn't it? So the first thing that I trained myself for a very long time to do was, the first thing, talking about voice, was the tone of the voice. And the second thing was, how would I like to react in every situation? And that level of then was acceptance first, because it doesn't matter what is happening. We just have to accept it first. Because from that place of acceptance, we can then map energetically, okay, what is my next step here? Because the moment that I am reacting, either experiencing tension, stress, anger, sadness, whatever it is, I'm reacting, I'm not accepting still. And then in acceptance, it's just more neutral in the flame of the heart of love. And then the observation is, what is my next step? But while I'm still bringing all of that together, I can actually just look at the tone of my voice and how I respond. So this is also really, really important, you know, because what happens with all of us is that we're in the busyness of our lives, and people are pushing our buttons if there's still things that we are still working with and clearing. And for so many of us, of course, that is still a part of our reality. Although there is also that deepening into just the knowing that that clearing is being released, so that we just become even brighter as these flames of divinity. And that too has been experienced. So it's such an exciting time, because really when we talk about this ascension process and we talk about the resurrection codes, this is all experienced. This is no longer something we're talking about. This is the experience of so many of us in our ascension process. The sense of coming home, the sense of ascending, the sense of the soul consciousness in the body, but it's just the next level. And from that, then there's the next level and the next level and the next level. So that is where we're all coming to at this point. And please know that we've all walked that path through the karmic timelines into the Christ timelines. And we're either at that place where we're still integrating through the experiences of karmic mates, or we're at that place of where we're integrating in alignment to the connection to the divine, greater levels of our magnificence. So it's all about unity or duality, and that is our choice at this time. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, so before we move into a little bit of a transmission, Sarah, I'm going to unblock you there, or unmute you rather, because I just muted you so we wouldn't pick up some background noise there, because I see there's something you might like to share with us.
Thank you. Two things that came up while you guys were sharing there. Firstly, I've had some amazing sessions with Sally with her quantum healing hypnosis technique, And I've met Dolores and been to listen to her teachings also, and read her books, which have been fascinating. And that's how Sally and I got to work together. In fact, that's how we met.
That's how we met, yeah.
Through me doing having a session with her when she first started, and we've done so much since then. And one of the things that has come through for me while you guys have been talking there is the blending of the divine masculine and the divine feminine is the somatic healing. It's about the blending of the Shiva Shakti consciousness, the masculine, feminine, up and down the spine with the Shushumni, that pillar of light, and then those two beautiful consciousnesses, and the Soma chakra sits right here on the widow's peak, and I love the way that you were saying about the masculine coming up, Anrita, because this is like the driving energy, isn't it? It's the driving forward, where we've been stepping into divine love with the divine feminine, and now we're able to maybe drive that forward more slightly, or help that to facilitate, to move that forwards with the masculine energy. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that came into my head, because I do a lot of work with the Soma chakra, and I birthed it through the Stargate of Avebury about 5 years ago when I got the information for the Soma. But the other thing that came up was while I was taking my dog, who I'm sorry was making the noise earlier, for a walk on the beach earlier, I was listening to a YouTube by Dolores Cannon on crop circles and her information. And of course, we have been blessed with many crop circles this season, and I know Sally's been to and actually sat within them. But as Dolores says, you know, you only need to really look at a crop circle, because the download of information will come into your higher self consciousness, and it'll just be like a trigger or a key. My throat chakra is now going, which we don't even really need to understand. It just is a key code which is downloaded to us, so that when so that we just know, it's like a heightened version of our awareness, and that every time I see one, it's like a whisper to my soul. You know, you just have an understanding, or even not. But you don't need to go and sit in one. So you don't need to be in the UK or in Holland.
You feel the energy.
You can actually just look.
That's actually the same with everything, you know, really, if you want to pick up a frequency, you just, whether it's a flower, you know, I mean, I used to make up for a very long time flower and gem essences, and it's really amazing. I take a crystal geode and energetically draw upon that frequency and within the water, and use it in different ways, and light essences and so on. But what I would notice afterwards, I could just take a picture of a flower, and I could pick up energetically the vibration. That's the same way as how we connect with each other. So everything, as we know, has a vibration, and you can tune in energetically and experience that frequency vibration from, you know, from all sorts of animate, living frequencies. So it's just absolutely amazing. And that's really how we're connecting also at the soul level with one another, aren't we? We're just tuning in, and that's why I'm saying, although I'm with you energetically, I feel like I'm with you physically, because we're really just feeling each other's energies, and it's just an incredible time to be able to do that, as well as also, you know, the gift of telepathy, where we think of someone and, you know, there they are in consciousness. And now a new gift that's coming online, I don't even think we call it telepathy anymore, is just knowing, or having these cosmic conversations with soul family. Although I did that for so long, that I think it's just so nice to connect with people too. So to listening to someone or experiencing something, and you having at the same time a cosmic conversation with them, you know, on the inner planes. And it's just absolutely amazing. So there's so many different ways that we can communicate with one another. But what I'd like to do right now, I think it would be really nice, is maybe we can just move into a little bit of a transmission together. We have a little bit of time, about half an hour, and I will just lead us there. And if anyone would like to join afterwards, I'll just move into a little bit of a light language transmission, and we can use that as a cue. So I'm going to also just unmute you there, Grace, just in case you might like to offer anything at a point there. So good. So for all our beautiful soul brothers and sisters joining us at this time, with us beautiful star sisters holding this flame of divinity for all of us just right now. Let's just sense it, feel it, and move deep into it. Feeling and experiencing the blessings of creation, feeling and experiencing ourselves as these flames of divinity, and coming into just this deepening sense of our own preciousness and our magnificence and our light. As we affirm to ourselves, I am the light of God. The light of God I am. Inokoa kina si ahia kioa. Imoso ahia kia. And wherever you are now within your sacred space, just
I think we've lost Anrita momentarily, so I'm just going to lead my little bit now. So I'd like you to see yourself within a beautiful golden white pyramid, a huge, beautiful, sparkling, glowing, pulsating pyramid of white golden light. Place this pyramid around you now so that it completely encloses your body. And just let yourself breathe in that lovely, sparkly, bubbly, pristine, white golden light. And as you breathe this into the cells of your body, it's going to go in to each and every cell in your body with each breath you take, so that your cells are now sparkling, shining, pulsating, really vibrating. You feel this through your whole body. And just bring your attention now gently to your throat. And as you do this, you may notice a sensation or a change in energy, a colour, or some sort of image of what's there. So just take a moment to have a look with love into your throat space now, and just allow it to be acknowledged, whatever's there, so that it may expand with us into this beautiful energy today. And if you find any restriction, just allow the light to weave into that place where maybe there's a restriction or some energy that's stuck. Just allow the light that you're bathing in to open those spaces, to go within those spaces where things are dense, to just permeate in there so that you might be able to release a little bit of that old energy, that old stuckness that you don't need anymore. Because today it's time, on the 31st anniversary of the first harmonic convergence, it's time to allow yourself to release all of that past wounding which says I can't speak. All of that's been stopping you to speak, stopping you from speaking. You might like to just move your neck and move your head around a little bit, and you might feel that there's quite a lot there that's been a bit stuck, and it's clicking. Mine is, and I noticed I went croaky. So there's light coming in now into those spaces. We're letting light into the spaces in your throat and your neck. And I know the energy is very high because we seem to be having problems with the transmission, with the electrical transmission here. So don't worry, just continue and it'll all be resolved. And you can give your neck and shoulders a little rub if you want to. And thank yourself for allowing yourself to go there. You can hear I'm croaky. Go there into this throat. This is like a taboo place where we weren't allowed to go. We spent many lifetimes where we actually couldn't speak, and that's why we're being called to release it now. So just know that you will be able to speak again. You will be able to bring your whole truth through. So Sarah and Grace, are you there? Are you?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
I'm still here. I can just hear.
I can hear and see.
But that was just so beautiful.
Yes, very beautiful, very expansive. And I felt that it was also actually expanding not only the throat chakra, but it went down towards the high heart chakra for me also. But it's really, really opening, really wonderful, expansive energy. So,
Thank you.
yes, and it's, I also got guided to say that, for everyone to step up, to speak, just trust, trust whenever you feel like, I need to go and say something, that there's something burning inside of you, even if you don't know exactly what it is, but simply just trust and know that you matter, because you hold a unique key. You hold a unique vibration that nobody else. It's like we are each representing a vibration, and together we are one big key. And so each frequency that each of us, our soul's essence, has a particular frequency. You know, you have something to give. That's why you're here. It's valuable, it's needed, and just if you feel like sharing it, if there is this urge within your heart to share and to give and to support others, trust that there is a reason why you feel this, and just simply, often it's not that you need to say or do something special. It's just to be there, be authentic there, sharing your light, being present, because you will activate others, assist others in also being authentic and going into trust, you know. And it is really about stepping out of our comfort zones every time. You know, for me today, which I shared before we went live, it was, and I have only been in a couple of live shows. I have been sharing for many, many years through my writing. And I have always had difficulties in expressing myself vocally. And so, so when Anrita had asked me to join, I find myself making a lot of excuses as not to do this. I had been on the show with Todd Medina, I'd been on the show with Lorraine, and actually I've got up to 4 invitations now to come on shows, and I keep on saying, yes, we have to find a date. And when Anrita told me, we can take any Friday, but if you would like to go this Friday, you are invited. And I just found, yeah, but I just moved in my new house, the children are gonna go to school, and I just had to giggle and laugh about myself, about all those excuses that I found to distract myself and to not move out of my comfort zone and to simply trust. And in my case, I was the Pleiadians came in and they just overlighted me, and I just knew I got to do this, you know, and them doing that, they also, it strengthened me in just reminding me, just, you know, go in and share, just be who you are. You have something special that, you know, although you don't know what you want to say or what you want to share, but your presence is asked for. And so each of us have something, a very special gift that we can share with others. And we all have this love within our heart. And so we can share it in various ways, but it is mostly just by being yourself. As I said, you don't need to do or say something special, but just showing up, being there, and whatever comes through you that is needed, and it is also appreciated by at least one person. It could be many persons, and we connect together and create a field of love together here, and connecting with so many soul family now. And I also feel that it's also a very much a lot about you know, that we also get over that point. You know, there has been created through the wound on the divine feminine, there has been created a lot of distrust and rivalry, you know, between women, because it was the sisterhood that have existed throughout ages and ages and ages in various cultures, you know, has been aimed to be, because we were silenced, and we were also through programming, through the church, about the shadow side of the divine feminine. We cannot trust each other. There was created a lot of gaps between women, to really disempower the divine feminine. And it's very important that we recognize that if we feel these, it could be fear, it could be distrust, whatever, that we recognize that when it's there, all right, there's something here. This is not because that one or that one had done something to you or whatever. It's also through the collective programming, and it's very important to heal that, to really be in trust and connect as one, as sisters, and so that you can create this divine union within, not only to and the stronger this divine, or the more we trust in the divine feminine, we also heal through that the divine masculine, because the divine masculine has caused us to to be silenced and to step back, and so when you start to trust in the divine feminine in you, you automatically, it's a way also of healing the divine masculine in you, so that this divine union can take place. So know that you are loved and that you matter. That's for everyone to know that, to feel that.
Thank you, Grace. I caught a little bit of the end there. I have no idea what happens, but I'm going to assume that that little bit of that expression of coming deep into our hearts was just what we needed at that time. And I see you've been answering some questions, which was quite lovely. And really what you're talking about is essentially just the deepening of self-love, deepening into self-love and self-nurturing and self-appreciation, and loving ourselves enough to say no to people, places, energies, and not seeking approval outside of ourselves, just finding, kind of what works for us and how do we feel in that moment, and finding that resonance for our own vibration. Because for so long, actually, as well, we're such energetically sensitive souls, aren't we, that we've absorbed and taken on so much of the energies of those around us, and that a lot of those feelings or thoughts or processes actually aren't ours. And this is actually part of this cycle that we're still experiencing, but in a different way, because it's sometimes feeling the collective of the planetary unconscious, isn't it? What's going on in different places. What we're seeing, from a 3D perspective, an outward perspective, is just everything getting more and more crazy. But essentially, actually, what's happening is that we're just experiencing deeper levels of light coming down onto the sacred earth. And then, of course, it amplifies, magnifies, and then has to release, or we have to release, accept, process, integrate, transmute, and come into that next level of alignment and integration. That's essentially what's happening for all of us. And then with that, at the body level, we're talking about is the crystalline matrix, that we're talking about all of that, where the carbon cells itself are actually shifting into that crystalline matrix, that structure that is actually just light. And often I just feel that this light from within just expanding out, because that's really what it is. It's the soul light. It expands out and it moves through every body part and organ and soothes it in these increased light frequencies. And it's just such an incredible experience, because where I am at this time with this and the integration of the divine masculine, it's the merging and integration of the soul clusters has already been experienced, and this feels like such a tantric experience on some level. It's like just a blissful merging of sacred sexual energy that moves through the body in that reunion of the divine masculine and divine feminine spirits. So it's really quite an interesting place to be in, to the next level of the diamond light body ignition.
It's very ecstatic, and you do actually when this alchemical blending is taking place, you really start to really get into states where I would say it's really orgasmic vibrations. It's like being on a high and you're right there, and it's actually our natural state of being, just being in this joyous, ecstatic energy. And some, you know, so it's this tantric energy, which is actually our natural bandwidth, our frequency. Yes. So it's not unusual that you can, you know, you start to feel this and what's going on, you know, you're just sitting and suddenly this rush of energy can come and you can actually get cosmic orgasms. It's not unusual. Yeah, it's a Kundalini energy, absolutely.
And they have the Kundalini activations with it. Yes, it's really just kind of quite an interesting experience. You know, if you haven't experienced it, and with those that are experiencing, it's just to deepen into that, to feel it, to just use the breath, to just use the expression of self, to know that really all that's going on is that it's a deeper soul integration, soul merging and integration.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Reasons,
yes.
I'm sorry, just to say that it's one of the reasons that we've been advised to pay attention to our chakras so much and to balance the chakras, is so that the Kundalini energy can rise more fully and that we can become feeling more safe and secure and more grounded in this fifth dimensional frequency, so that we can actually allow the Kundalini to flow and to allow that lovely expression that Grace has just so well described. You know, that high, that really sits very well with the way that I feel that people have been sharing their experiences and facing fears. And two things that I've seen and I recommend to people all the time are the Ho'oponopono, or however you pronounce that, you know, that cleansing of the bubble. You know, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, and then there's Samadhi, which is the you know, the cleanse, the bubble cleanse, to make sure that you're not picking up on other people's frequencies, and as a lighter being, perhaps taking on other people's stuff. And as you were saying earlier about boundaries, the solar plexus, making sure that we establish healthy boundaries around ourselves, and not to blame others for taking our energy, because actually it's down to us to look after our own energy. And again,
yes.
One of the things that one of the Peruvian shaman that I worked with said was, the only thing to fear is the fear of forgetting to do your own housekeeping and to clear your own bubble. And he said that if you forget to do that, that's the only thing to worry about. And of course, we can ask the archangels to keep running that program for us, in case we forget it.
Yeah, you know, and for many years, actually, I worked with, and I still do it sometimes. Actually, I guess it's such a habit. I just don't have it as a conscious practice anymore, is bringing in the violet flame of Saint Germain and the white light of the Christed One and the blue flame of Archangel Michael and my shields of light and sword of truth and the white sheets moving up through the property. All of this is still, you know, just bringing in those frequencies that are assisting us to hold our own vibration until that point, of course, when our own vibration is just completely expanded through the Merkaba. Actually, for me, sometimes it feels a little bit like, I don't know what the word I would use, kind of everything feels a little bit spongy is probably the best way to describe that. The Merkaba activation is just a bubble, you know, it's your bubble of light 54 feet in diameter around you. And that really is not only your ascension vehicle to experiencing multidimensional realities, but it's also a huge energetic field of light. And one of the things that I actually remember doing as well is creating the Trinity Lord Shield of Light, which is really amazing. So that we can just breathe into and experience as this diamond field of light 54 feet in diameter around us. And within that, Metatron's cube and the Trinity Lords of Light, Lord Michael, Lord Metatron, and Lord Melchizedek come forward and imbue within this the 12th dimensional diamond light codes as a shield of light within and around this diamond field. As we hold that, we call that the Trinity Lord Shield of Light, and it comes down as a spinning disc of light through all dimensions, through all chakras, through all these higher dimensional chakras, and then through the crown, the third eye, the throat, into the heart, into the solar plexus, sacral, base, it's the feet chakra, the earth star chakra, into the energy of the earth, into the crystalline, divine heart of Mother Earth. Breathing that in, breathing in love, breathing out.
It's like becoming one with the flow of everything. Beautiful.
It is essentially, and that spinning disc now moves up through all the chakras again and into that vortex 24 feet in diameter above the crown chakra, creating that sphere 54 feet in diameter around us. And we're linking back into two chakras now that are coming up. Primarily it's the throat chakra, and I know Sally was quite spot on around that, and also the third eye. So lots of movement is going on and expanding now within the throat as we find expression of sound within that. So I think I'm going to ask us to just have a couple of chants of Om together, Om and Home, and then it's igniting through the third eye. And part of that work is, of course, into the pineal, the pituitary, the hypothalamus, the thalamus glands. We're experiencing now recalibration between the left and right hemispheres of the brain, between the pituitary, hypothalamus, thalamus, and thalamus glands. Let's do a couple of Oms, and then we will just end with a few minutes of everything that everyone has got on and may like to share with others. We just bring ourselves back fully present and just feeling and sensing this high vibe connection of love and unity, coming together in community, coming together as sacred soul, star family, light bearers, way showers, good keepers, knowing all is well, all is well. Good. So we just sit and just take a moment to see if anyone's got something on the go that they might like to talk about. I know that I'm starting a telewebinar series next Saturday Again, it will just be monthly, or it's a 7th month tele-webinar series. You're welcome to join. I will put the link shortly there in our Facebook Live comment section, and you're certainly welcome to have a look at that. So it's just quite exciting. I absolutely love doing these tele-webinars. It's going to be working with the angelic templates with the diamond light body, and you'll be able to facilitate this. And the completion of the course, it's a facilitation course. You can do it for yourself, or you can do it as a facilitator. That's the 1st and 2nd levels, and it's going to be just a series of beautiful invocations and affirmations with working with so many of these galactic frequencies, Christed ETs, angelic beings, and anchoring and activating these beautiful angelic templates as they're coming through. And the 3rd level, for those that may be interested, is also to become the it's called Soul Sense, and that's where you can do soul scent readings, experiencing a whole range of different modules into deeper levels of healing, into working with the soul sense, into making up your own essential oil, angelic blends, and into using that and sharing that with others. So very exciting time to be bringing online all our new creative gifts, and I'm certainly looking forward to that and the expansion of that, and to connecting more with you beautiful, beautiful light beings. So thank you. So Sarah, have you got anything that's going on at the moment? Oh, we can't hear you. I don't know what happened to your sound.
Hear me now?
Yes.
And my sound has been a little bit funny this whole
Yes.
session. I am doing a Raise Your Vibration 7-module course that starts in September the 29th as weekend courses. And the other thing is the Moonlight Key, which comes in 5 levels or 5 different sessions. And the next one of those is starting on the 3rd of November this year. But I won't be doing as many of these as I have been over the previous years, because I'm going to be working more from Portugal. Although I'll be doing it online, I've been learning and stepping outside of my comfort zone and actually sharing Raise Your Vibration. I can't do Moonlight Key, but I can show you Raise Your Vibration courses online. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Also, we have a solstice gathering, a winter solstice gathering coming up on the 21st of December. And I'll be running that with my soul sister Tess there, and that's going to be at the Hamlin Hall, which is on the mic. It is going to be on the Michael line. If you want to know more about that, then have a look at the events part of my website, and that's organicaromatherapy.co.uk. Thank you so much, Anrita. It's just been so beautiful, and I love working with all of you. And Grace, it's been just magical to actually speak with you, because we connect so much online, and we can, we share so much, and to actually connect with you like this has just been a beautiful thing. So Anrita, thank you for the experience that you facilitated. Sally, I love you. Your work is amazing, and I look forward very much to our next thing that we do together. And Anrita, thank you for being so inspirational, and to everyone who's listening, please step out of your fear if you can, face your fears and to move forward through them. Keep feeding your bubble and keep doing the Ho'oponopono, because they're free. Nothing can stop you from doing those 2 things. And thank you again. I just am in deep appreciation and deep gratitude.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Oh, thank you. Anyone else, anything they'd like to share at this moment? Grace?
I invite everyone to, if you still are not familiar with the Arcturian Global Group Transmissions that I do, they really is a very powerful and shape-shifting tool to really bring in your divinity, to open your spiritual gifts and talents, and to help you really, it's empowerment. It's really to step into your empowerment and help you to show up and to really embody the galactic consciousness, your divine essence. That's a really beautiful tool, and I have amazing feedback, and it grows and grows. And people, they ask me every month, when is the next one? When is the next one? And I always do them at the end of the month. Okay. And I will then post it on Facebook. I create a Facebook event. And I also have a special page that is where I'm sharing the information apart from my personal Grace Solaris page. I also have Grace Solaris Actuarian High Council, and I share the group transmissions there. And I also share, there is also information to the previous group transmissions that we had, because you can always tune in, you know, you cannot miss anything as there is no time. You can tune in and into the 0 point quantum field, and you can connect with the group force field, and you can ask, and by your divine intent, you can receive these transmissions. And so there is, if you click on services there will, there's listed most of the previous, not all, but most of the previous activations that are all DNA activations that are, they are working with different part of our DNA to restore the divine blueprint template. And I also offer these sessions as one-on-one sessions, which they are, I mean, the activations are done. If you tune into the 0 point field, the activation, in a way, it's the same, but when we work one-on-one with you, we will do whatever else is to your highest good. And it's very powerful also to receive these activations as one-on-ones. So you can find all the information there on my page, Grace Solaris Actuarian High Council, or you can write to me on my Facebook page.
Wonderful. And you can put your information also in the comments box. That will be wonderful. You can put all the links in there. Good. Sally?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Grace.
I'd like to invite all of you to my Wednesday evening free healing transmission that I run with Helen Quayle, and that's always at 9:30 to 10 UK time, whatever that time translates to in your time zone. So you will feel it. It's very strong. It's been going for 5 years, and actually, if you need it suddenly, you can call it in throughout the week. A couple of weeks ago, Helen had a bike accident, not motorbike, push bikes, cycling accident just before the Wednesday healing. And I said to her, I'm going in, I'll take you in. And she said that at the end of the half hour, her symptoms, which had been quite severe, she had a cracked rib and something, the pain was 80% reduced. So it is strong. So I invite you all to that. If anyone's in the UK and fancies coming to meet in Glastonbury for the autumn equinox, that would be amazing. I've got an event page which I'll share, a Facebook event page which I'll share. And also I'm doing one-to-one online sessions now of quantum healing. I call it dimensional integration, and there's some information about that on my website. It's a few hours, that an investment of a few hours in yourself, just one-on-one. And what you do is you go in to meet your higher selves, and we meet aspects of your higher self, and we bring them in together and hear from them and how they want to help you and how they want you to proceed with your gifts now in this lifetime. So have a look at that on my website if you're interested. And thank you so much, Anrita, for the opportunity today. And it's been lovely to work with everyone together like this.
How wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sally. There's a message from Jenny Brown saying to us, thank you for representing the divine feminine and also collaborating. You're all representing a new way of bringing forth the divine feminine, dropping the old ways of distrust and rebirthing a new way of bringing online the divine feminine and the divine masculine by working together and creating this foundational template. So thank you. Love and blessings. And of course, that's essentially what we're doing. So Suzanne saying, Sally, that sounds like a beautiful session. I wish I could be with you all. I'll be there Wednesday for the transmission.
Suzanne always does those. That's lovely. Thank you, Suzanne.
So love and blessings to all you sacred hearts tuning in with us in this moment, and of course to my beautiful special co-hosts and facilitators, Grace Solaris, Sarah Williams, Sally Sherin, and from myself, from our heart, cosmic heart to yours and to the cosmic heart of all creation. Blessings in love. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.
New Earth Cosmic Conversations.